Thank you. Now, if you will join me in turning off your cell phones, if you have it still on, so we don't mess up with the electronics. I just found out a couple of seconds ago that I was going to do the welcoming, so I have nothing prepared except to say I'm glad to see everyone here, and it looks like a good crowd for Labor Day. And so guess we know where the work needs to be done. So today we're going to start with a chant. And who is our practitioner? Reverend Hargraves is going to be here. And let's get going.
So join us in a round. This is I Am Remembering. I am remembering who I am. 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 I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am.
Thank you. You'll join me in prayer, but I want to first give a quote from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. I feel and know that an almighty love envelops me in its close embrace. So just join me in prayer, knowing that I speak my word in the first person for myself and for each of you that choose to have it for your own. I give thanks for the awareness that Spirit is truly all there is, ever present, by whatever name we choose to call it. And that Spirit is a power greater than we are, and that we can use it in our lives. So I now speak my word. I open my mind to the infinite intelligence of Spirit that is forever guiding and directing me. I open my heart to the love of Spirit that is always unfolding, enfolding, and supporting me. I open my body to the healing of Spirit, knowing that infinite intelligence within it is harmonizing and healing all that needs to be harmonized and healed. And I also know that all that I need to know for my greater understanding and my greater unfolding, it comes to me at the time and in the way that it is needed. So I give thanks for this, release it under the law, and simply wait for wonderful reports and delightful surprises. And so it is. Amen. Well, we have wonderful returning musicians today. And so Andoni Panici has been a singer and a band leader and an actor for 13 years, and he performs all around the Bay Area with his band. He'll be performing this afternoon and evening with his band at the Town Center in Corte, Madera from 6 to 8:30 from 2 to 4 this afternoon at the Town Center. And this evening from 6 to 8:30, he's going to be at the new organic French cafe in Sausalito called Bio on Bridgeway. So please go also to his table, and you can purchase his CD and sign up on his email list and find out more about his shows today. And then Russ also we're delighted to have back, and he said, "Oh, just say I'm back." But Andoni said, "Oh, he's a complete genius, and he makes it so easy for the singers." So. Go on. You were basking in the intro and just got lost.
The song is called Love's Divine.
Then the rainstorm came over me, and I felt my spirit break. I had lost all of my belief, you see, and realize my mistake. But time threw a prayer to me, and all around me became still. And I need love. Love's divine. Please forgive me, now I see that I've been blind. Give me love. Love is what I need to help me know my name. From the rainstorm came sanctuary, and I felt my spirit fly. I had found all of my reality. Now I realize what it takes, and I need love. Love's divine. Please forgive me, now I see that I've been blind. Give me love. Love is what I need to help me know my name. Oh, I don't bend, I don't break. Show me how to live and promise me you won't forsake. 'Cause love, it helps me know my name. Well, I try to say there's nothing wrong, but inside I felt me lying all along. 'Cause the message here was plain to see. And I need love. Love's divine. Please forgive me, now I see that I've been blind. Give me love. Love is what I need to help me know my name. Oh, I don't bend, I don't break. Show me how to live and promise me you won't forsake. 'Cause love, it helps me know my name. Yeah. helps me know my name. Thank you. Ross. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
It's going to be love, and I wondered why the quote from Ernest Holmes on love popped out at me this morning, and now when you started singing, I said, of course. Our wonderful altar, if you'll turn your attention to this, it's the Thai angels are welcoming each other in namaste and welcoming the spirit within, and the silver and gold of the altar cloth and the present, and the candlesticks represents the riches found within us, and the light of the candles remind us of our inner light. The present tells us that the present is a gift we have been given, and the clamshell holds a hidden pearl of wisdom. The orchid is a symbol of magnificence, and the traditional angel in the center of the altar provides guidance and protection. The word for today is magnificence, and the theme for this year is based on the 12 statements by Dr. Ernest Holmes about what we believe in this philosophy of the science of mind. And this month we're talking about the law that creative mind receives the impress of our thought and acts upon it. And of course, our guest speaker is finishing up her series this month, and we're so delighted to have Reverend Mary Shelton. She's a published author, she's an actress, she's a professional speaker, she has been a minister at a variety of spiritual centers, and including the last one in Canada. She performs weddings and facilitates retreats. I understand she had a fabulous workshop last week. How many of you were at that? I know it went well. So you can sign up for her email list. And she's talking about the creative law. And this morning her talk is something that longs to be found. So please welcome with me Reverend Mary Shelton.
About healing, the law of healing, and what healing is, and we invite you to do that. This series that Reverend Sarah was referring to, you can see the 12 statements over there on the poster, what we believe. And so this month, August, we're in the 8th statement, which is we believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. So we refer to that as the law, or the creative law. So you can see in the image that the law working through us operates outward from us in creation. And when Holmes says we're surrounded by this creative law, we're not only surrounded by it, we're permeated by it. It's part of the essence of what we are. So I've been talking this month about the infinite possibilities that are around us all the time that our senses can't even perceive, that we perceive so much less than 1% of what's actually happening around us, or what's available in terms of possibilities. And also last week, I talked about that spirit, or that mystery that we refer to as God, is actually not bounded or limited in any way by time or space, which also means that we may still have an effect today on what has happened in our past, or what appears to be the past. So we're surrounded by and enfolded in possibilities all the time of what's going on with all of us. And I came across this little story about a young man who was about to be a father for the first time, and he lived out in the country, and so the local general doctor was called when his wife went into labor to come and attend the birth. And when his wife went into labor in the middle of the night and the doctor came out to assist in the delivery, he wanted to keep this nervous father to be busy. So because there wasn't electricity in the house, he handed him a lantern. And he said, "Here, you hold this high so I can see what I'm doing." And pretty soon a little baby boy was born into the world, and the exhausted father started to lower the lantern when the doctor said, "Whoa, Scotty, don't be in such a rush to put the lantern down. I think there's another wee one coming." And so the father lifted the lantern up again in amazement, and pretty soon a second baby was born. And once again, he started to lower the lantern when the doctor said, "No, no, no, not so quick. I think there's yet another one coming." And the father, in amazement, lifted it up a third time and said, "Do you think it's the light that's attracting him?" We are by nature attracted to light. We are attracted to light because there is something within us that is hidden, that we do not, as our individual human selves, have a recognition of, because part of our journey is to discover it. And so this something that's within us actually wants to be discovered, but also enjoys the process of our discovery. It longs to be found and lived through and celebrated, but it is to us a mystery. It is the pearl of great price that's hidden. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus says, "The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field, and when a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy went out and sold all he had and bought that field." Because that something, that mystery, was so valuable that it wanted to be found. So the question becomes then, what is this inner something that is within us? You know, Matthew Fox wrote, "It has taken 15 billion years to get you here." That is scientific fact. 60% of our body is hydrogen atoms. The hydrogen atoms in us go back to the fireball 14 billion years ago. The same hydrogen atoms that are in us. He goes on to say, we've been around a long time, and it has been a great birthing process to bring us forward. Brian Swimmy wrote, he said this, I heard him say this, "It is amazing that every atom of our bodies was forged in the fire of a star." I think that one of the worst crimes on earth is that we're not telling every child this. Every child. So instead of having them identify themselves in some small little way, they begin to see themselves as a cosmic event, assembled out of stars. This is what we are. This is the universe's becoming. The universe is becoming an expression to come to an awareness of itself through us, and perhaps through other beings and creatures on this planet and in other places, but to come to awareness of itself. This is the something that longs to be found, this larger awareness of being that exists in us. And it's not as hard to find as we might think. It's just that we're not in the habit of looking for it in that way. So we become, we take it for granted, so we don't recognize what it really is. I grew up in Seattle, and Mount Rainier was always in front of us. So I took it for granted. I didn't know what an amazing mountain it was until I left and came back. So sometimes we don't see what's right in front of us because it's so familiar, it doesn't seem amazing. Franz Kafka And I think it's amazing that Franz Kafka, as an existentialist, said this. He said, "You do not need to leave your room. Remain sitting at your table and listen. Do not even listen. Simply wait. Do not even wait. Be quite still and solitary. The world will freely offer itself to you to be unmasked. It has no choice. It will roll in ecstasy at your feet." What a message that is. So what we are is something much more amazing than we have yet realized. We are magnificence. Or as Joni Mitchell said, we are stardust. We are golden. And we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. That is an awareness, not a place. It is an awareness of the wholeness, of the allness that is present always in its fullness around us and in us at all times. We're not separate from it. We're not going to get holier and then awaken to it. I mean, we might awaken to it more, but we're not going to be different than we are. We're going to discover more of what we already are, what we always were. We can't not be the fullness of what we are. We can disguise it. We can forget it. We can ignore it. We can dampen its expression, but we can't extinguish it. We don't have the power to undo what the infinite is. And the infinite thought we were fascinating enough to become each one of us. So there is something to be respected, something to be honored, something to be in awe of, not in an egotistical way, but in a way really that is true humility. That isn't false humility that says, oh, I'm nothing, I'm the dust of the earth, I'm no one, I'm a worm. No, that's not the truth. That is false humility. The truth is we are in awe of what we are because we don't know how to create beings like us. We don't know how this came about. We don't know how the gifts that we have and our uniqueness exist, but they are here and we have use of them and we are irresistibly invited, if we respond to it, we are beckoned into it, into experience, into vibration, into song, into dance, into energy, into thought. That's what we are. We are magic happening. It's amazing. Really, just what your body is doing as you're sitting there is astounding, unbelievable, amazing. It's a miracle. So it requires our availability to that. And what we do in Centers for Spiritual Living, what we do with this philosophy, the science of mind, is we want to look into living our lives from a spiritual perspective that has an awareness of this as much of the time as we can. So we begin to enter into the practice of it when we take classes, because then we're with other people doing the same thing. If you haven't taken foundations or visioning, take them, because it takes us into practice, not just hearing about it, but learning how to do it, learning how to be consistent with it. See a practitioner, let them help you when you're struggling so they can know the truth for you that you're having trouble seeing for yourself. That's what they're there for. That's what their service is. So we want to enter into spiritual living, not just spiritual thinking, not just spiritual ideas or good stuff to say, but actually living from a deeper place of experience. Ernest Holmes said, "I believe in a religion of happiness and joy." This is our founder. "There is too much depression and sorrow in the world. These things were never meant to exist. They have no real place in God's world. Religion should be like the morning sun, sending forth its glorious rays of light. It should be like the gently falling dew, covering all. Like the cool of the evening and the repose of night. It should be a spontaneous song of joy. From the fullness of the heart, the mouth should speak." So this is the kind of life that we look forward to and look into when we're living spiritually. And where we get mixed up is that we think that it means that we're not going to have any challenges, that we're never going to get angry, that we won't really need to forgive anyone because we won't be offended, that nothing will bother us, and we will not do anything selfish or short-sighted or just plain mean again. I secretly hope that, but I have been a minister for nearly 30 years, and I was crabby yesterday. So, you know, what is true is that the essence of what we are is not limited to our history, our experience, our form, our achievements. It's not limited to our roles or what we have been or what we remember. It's not even limited to what we believe, although its expression might be limited to what we believe about ourselves. The heart of our identity, of our real identity, is beyond all that. It's not about what we've achieved or even what we will achieve. It's about an essence of being. And that essence is always unlimitedly valuable, no matter what we've done or how many times we've fallen down or screwed up. That essence is undamaged and it stays the same. And there's something about discovering that magnificence, which is the word, my word for the day today. Magnificence. Magnificence. That is the truth of our essence, and it always has been. Robert Browning wrote this in Paracelsus. He said, "Truth is within ourselves. It takes no rise from outward things, whate'er you may believe. There is an inmost center in us all where truth abides in fullness, and to know rather consists in opening out a way whence the imprisoned splendor may escape, than in effecting entry for a light supposed to be without." In other words, in order for us to know this truth of this magnificence that we are, we have to open a way for it to come out of us, rather than assuming what we're trying to do is open a way to let it get in. It never was separate from us, although we may have felt separate from it. So when we're out of alignment with ourselves, we can go through a dark night of the soul where we feel very separate from the infinite presence, but it was always here. It never left us, and we can find our way back to it. So there are infinite numbers of ways for us to find our way back and infinite opportunities, and the door never closes on that. Albert Schweitzer said, "Sometimes our light goes out, but is blown into flame by another human being. Each of us owes deepest thanks to those who have rekindled this light." And we all know people who've done that for us. And I'm sure that every one of us has done that for someone else at some time. So that presence, that vibration, that Om, that is the central vibration of the universe, it's happening in us all the time. And our awareness of it is diffused and distracted by all the stuff that we're thinking about and worrying about and concerned about. So, I want to invite you to close your eyes, and I want you to listen to this sound and see how long you can hear it. So see if you can pinpoint the moment when you stop hearing it, and without opening your eyes, just raise your hand when you don't hear it anymore. All right, you can put your hands down and open your eyes. Now, I can still hear it, but that's because I'm right next to it. The intensity with which you listened to see how long it took for that sound to end. That sound you were listening to in this moment was the presence of God, and your attention to listening was your connection to it, your awareness of it. So when we turn our attention to finding it, to hearing it, to listening to it, we open ourselves up to the magnificence that's always present. This might have been very softly in the background while I was talking, and you might have not noticed it because you'd be listening to me talking instead of listening to it, but it was still there. The vibration, even after we can't hear it anymore, continues to be present. So the presence of the infinite vibration, that sound that is the center of the universal being, is always happening. It's always around us. It's always in us. And by our reaching into it, feeling our way into it, we begin to discover its presence. You know, when someone's beingness, like when we listened to Andoni and Ross this morning, when someone's beingness is coming through with such magnificence, we recognize that. We recognize it when we witness it, when we see it or hear it in another person. We can feel it sometimes in some places in the world that we go to that have that particular affinity between us and the place. Ours might be different than somebody else's because the presence is everywhere. But we will pick it up from certain people or certain places. And those are kind of the reminders that Schweitzer is talking about too. Not just the direct ones when somebody says something good to you that wakes you up. Does this make sense, what I'm saying? So there are invitations and opportunities around us all the time. The orchids, the buds on the orchids, they're an invitation to us. If we're available to them, they are a beckoning that's happening for us. So what we want to be able to do then is to honor the self that we are. Not as the little ego self that's all wrapped up in how things should be and how we want other people to behave and what we would think of ourselves if we got it just right. And I will be happy if, or I would be happy when. Not that self, but the real self that we are, which is more than all of that. We want to honor that mystery in us, which means that we don't want to put ourselves down. We don't want to criticize ourselves and other people. What we want to do is the namaste energy between these angels, the recognition of the divine presence that is there, behind all the appearances of limitation that we might be experiencing in the moment or expressing in the moment. We are, and always have been, and always will be, more than what we appear to be or what we have known or expressed so far. Always. Howard Thurman, the African-American minister, who was, oh good, thank you, Eleanor, who was an author, a philosopher, a theologian, an educator, and a civil rights leader. He said this: don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Some time ago, I wrote this when I was just ruminating about things. I wrote, "Delight is contagious. Our job is to create magic as divine distributors of God's magnificence, but it is also to be recipients of magic, practitioners of the art of delighting and being delighted." That's our job. Practitioners of the art of being delighted, that means appreciation, and delighting, both, which is being of service, seeing the truth between us. And I want to close with a little story this morning. This is from The Way of the Sufi. A king had two sons. The first helped the people by working for them in a manner they understood. The second was called lazy, because he was a dreamer as far as anyone could see. The first son gained great honors in the land, II obtained from a humble carpenter a wooden horse and sat astride it. But the horse was a magical one. It carried the rider, if he was sincere, to his heart's desire. Seeking his heart's desire, the young prince disappeared one day on the horse, and he was absent a long time. After many adventures, he returned with a beautiful princess from the country of light. And his father was overjoyed at his safe return and listened to the story of the magic horse. The horse was made available to anyone who wanted it in the country. But many people preferred the obvious benefits that the actions of the first prince provided for them, because to them, the horse always looked like a plaything. They did not get beyond the outer appearance of the horse, which was not impressive. When the old king died, the prince who liked to play with toys became, by his wish, the king. But people in general despised him. They much preferred the excitement and interest of the discoveries and activities of the practical prince. So we can be distracted into what seem like the practical solutions and overlook the fact that there are more avenues, more possibilities, more ways available to us if we will step into our own knowing. And stepping into our own knowing is an intuitive thing, not a linear thing. We go by heart and by feel into the intuitive, by that leaning and listening toward the feeling of the one. It takes something more from us to go that way. So I'm going to go back to the very beginning from Matthew Fox. It has taken 15 billion years to get you here. That is scientific fact. We are not just the products of our parents. 60% of our body is hydrogen atoms. The hydrogen atoms in us go back to the fireball 14 billion years ago. We have been around a long time. And it has been a great birthing process to bring us forward. Now we are here, and the universe is waiting on tiptoe to see what we will do next. Let's not be boring. Let's get on the magical horse of our magnificence and discover our heart's desire. Namaste, and thank you for this month. Thank you very much. Thank you. So the inner work that I want to remind you of today comes from this takeaway. The essence of the divine is right where I am. It desires to be expressed. I let it be expressed through me with gratitude and joy. Allowing is really the key here. I let it be expressed through me with gratitude and joy. So let's move within. Right now, right here, there is an unlimited presence, a mystery of magnificence right where I am, right where we are. It fills me and it fills this space. It fills every one of us. It is uniquely expressing at this moment through us. And we are invited to direct it in ways to express intentionally through us. So we take on this ability, this responsibility, this ability to respond with enthusiasm and curiosity, experimenting in joy, in wonder, in delight. We're so grateful that this is our gift, and we receive it. We receive it for ourselves individually, and we accept it for everyone in this place and in our world with great love. We let this prayer go knowing that it's already happening, and with ease, we let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Yes, and so it is. And let's welcome Andoni and Ross back again now.
When I watch the news, it makes me cry for all of the anger I see. So many souls believe in the lie that hatred is all they can be. So I take a chance to offer my prayer and sing out my truth. And I believe today is the day that our message gets through. That we are all children of the God of love. We are all meant to be instruments of peace. There's no us or them, foe or friend. We are all the same. There is only one, and everyone is born with God's name. So the question becomes, where do we start, and how do we heal so much pain? The answer is clear. We open our hearts, let our love wash away every stain. 'Cause peace in our time begins with a smile, with one open hand. And when we teach by example, the world is sure to understand. But sometimes it seems so useless to try, so futile to dream. But remember, the power of creation lies in what we believe. And we are all children of the God of love. We are all meant to be instruments of peace. There's no us or them, foe or friend. We are all the same. There is only one, and everyone is born with God's name. God's name. God's name.
Thank you. Thank you, Ross. Ross, Guaco.
Yeah, baby.
Thank you.
All right. Now is our offering time. So I'd like to invite the ushers to come forward. You know, when, as I've been talking about the creative law, one of the things for us to remember is that what we put our love, time, and attention toward increases in our experience. And the actions that we take repeatedly also increase in our experience. So when we give forth of our substance, we want to do it with a blessing. no matter where it's going, but particularly when we're giving forth of that divine substance that's been entrusted to us here. So your tithes and offerings, I know some of them come in automatically, but I want you to take your offering, if you have it today, and put it over your heart. And if you're giving it with a loved one, you can hold it in your hands together as we say the offering blessing as one voice, which is this. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is.
The song was written by Desiree Goyette Bourges. Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing we can lack when we give of love. Love gives it back. Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing we can lack. We give from love, love gives it back. Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing we can lack. We give of love, love gives it back. Just as we give, so we receive.
Thank you. All right. So all of us together, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, do receive and accept these tithes and offerings with great gratitude. And we know that all the blessings that they're sending out from the center, Golden Gate Center, are also coming right into us and beginning right here in this room. So we send them out for great blessing, and we receive the blessing with great gratitude. And so it is. Oops.
And now, all the wonderful things that are coming up in the next few weeks. Classes are starting for fall, and Reverend Carol is going to be doing Foundations class. So this is the basics for you to learn about the philosophy and how to use it. She's also doing Prosperity Plus on Thursday evenings, a 10-week class starting on the 18th. Visioning, Janet Carol Ryan is going to do her wonderful visioning process and class. So if you want to learn more about it and how to use it in your life, then come to that starting September 23rd. Quick Start, Gail Durkin is doing also this is a wonderful introduction to the philosophy. If you have not taken it, it's great to take, and if you have taken it, it's wonderful to take it again. So that starts September the 14th, 12:30 to 3:30 after the service. Reverend Carol will be back next week, and you won't want to miss her exciting 4-week series on the power of healing. And we're asking that you let us know what she would like to, what she could put in there that would answer your questions about healing. So you could maybe write on a piece of paper, or I think we'll be asking next week as well that you can continue to that series. Jet Walker, is Jet here today? Oh, she's right back there. Jet's, the Sunday brunch is today at her beautiful home in Tiburon, so bring some food and also carpool because parking is limited, and you can see Jet for instructions on how to get there.
And I think she has a special guest musician or something today. Is that right, Jet? Yeah, surprise.
Oh, a surprise gift, a guest musician today? Fabulous. Okay, well, surprises to go. Virgos, how many of you are Virgos? Big party this Friday, September 5th. Come and celebrate with Virgos, and if you, whatever sign you are, come and celebrate. Mm-hmm. Reverend Carol's ritual class is the 6th of September. She'll be offering a ritual that you can use in every part of your life, and this one's going to be about harvest, so sign up for that today. There's also a volunteer fair coming up September 7th and 14th. So learn about the joy of volunteering. It is a lot of fun, and you get to know folks. There are several opportunities to volunteer that are open in our community. You get to choose what would be fun for you. And most of those volunteer positions just require you to do your volunteer service one Sunday a month. So that's a great thing. So if the practitioners would come forward. These practitioners are professionals that are normally paid for their services, so they volunteer their time once a month. And so if you have a healing need, then come see those practitioners, and would the other practitioners surround the room. And we are the fullness of all there is. We are guided in all areas of our life, and Spirit guides our way. Join me in the affirmation. I know that Spirit is expressing as me. It is all that I am.
I am remembering that Spirit's magnificence shines through every one of us. I let Spirit open me into greater expression and fulfillment.
So join me in the closing song.
Peace